Coming up, taking your airplane with you behind your RV.
A big NOTAM for the big game, plus aviation on the red carpet.
And flying to Baja, AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Celebrate 20 years of Sonex aircraft by building and flying your dream. Quick handling, fun and capable kit aircraft models to suit your flying passions. Get the best performance per dollar with Sonex aircraft.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Redinger.
They announced the Oscar nominations this week. Wakanda Forever. And last Friday, Aviation's version of the Oscars, The Living Legends of Aviation, straight from the Beverly Hilton, the same place they do the Golden Globes.
Yes, they do. And Amazon's Jeff Bezos was inducted for his work on the Blue Origin commercial space system. During an onstage interview, Bezos said practice is key to successful space flights.
We are starting with suborbital tourism as our first mission for a couple of reasons, one of which is the frequency of that mission can be very high, and so we can practice a lot. And one of the really weird things about human beings is we get really good at anything we practice.
Speaking of practicing, musician and Beaver pilot Kenny G said it's taken him about 50 years of saxophone practice to start getting good.
I'm really humbled to be in the presence of such accomplished aviators. I want you to know how proud I am to be a pilot. It's got a lot of the same qualities that go into being a musician. You have to practice, you have to work hard, you can't buy it, it's hard earned, you have to be creative, you have to be able to improvise. And with music, you know, when you're in the sky and you got that freedom, it's like playing a jazz improvisation solo. It's kind of the same feeling.
But the surprise of the evening was Harrison Ford presenting his Aviation Legacy Award to aerobatic pilot Sean D. Tucker for his work in starting the Bob Hoover Academy.
What we have, this metaphor, this magic called flight, and I've proven it now. I've been on this project for 6 years, and I'm taking kids who are hopeless. Their dreams are dead on arrival. Manny was my first solo student. They gave the system. He was dead on arrival, no hope. System gave up on him. His brother's in prison for murdering the guy who murdered his other brother. It's just ugly, and he's scary. You look him in the eye the first time I met him, and I thought he could do me. And that's scary. After 2 hours in my hangar, he's a kid again. Every single one of my kids I get, they're dead on arrival, and every single one of the kids I get are graduating from high school. Every single one of the kids I get. And this metaphor is so important because we're giving them hope. We're giving them hope. And Mr. Raisback, right here in this room, told me, he said, Sean, it doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, you're not relevant unless you're giving back. And we have such a powerful tool. People in this room, we have such a powerful tool. And it doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, you're rich or poor, your dreams are relevant and valid in America. And what we have from this magic called flight, we're building self-esteem in these young people. We're building, allowing them to believe in themselves, to believe in something for the first time in their life, and it changes them, and it makes them citizens, and it makes them proud.
So Sean got really emotional. It's a great program that he's got going out there for the kids, but I got to tell you, Kenny G stole the show.
Really?
He was very funny and just a little risque and not what you expect from somebody who like Kenny G. But he's a very active pilot and really enjoys his airplane. His son's learning to fly using the same instructor that Kenny G used 30 years ago.
Oh,
he was
wow.
flying, so.
Wow, sounds like it was a great night.
It was a fun night.
From aviation's big night to the NFL's Super Bowl 53. The game is set for Sunday, February 3rd at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. With the annual game comes a significant impact to general aviation in the area. So if you're wanting to fly near Atlanta between January 29th and February 5th, You need to pay close attention to NOTAMs. There are, of course, TFRs for the event. There's a reservation program in place at most of the GA airports in the region to handle the influx of traffic. Find out more on the FAA website.
We don't know, but be prepared. As we record this, the government is still shut down. Air traffic controllers and other essential federal employees continue to work and without pay. And once again, as we record this, the deal seems to be that the president will wait until after the government opens before he gives the State of the Union speech before Congress. If that happens by Tuesday of next week as scheduled, or whenever it happens, the FAA will make the airspace around Washington, D.C. even more restricted than it already is. The FAA's flight advisory team tells us what to expect if the actual NOTAM is issued. If you're flying in the Washington area next week, check it out on our website.
And as we told you last week, some of the labor unions representing the 800,000 unpaid federal workers filed suit to get their paychecks. The Controllers Union, NATCA, is a part of that lawsuit, and the hearing was rescheduled for Thursday of this week. We'll report the outcome, if any, next week. And another quick note about the shutdown. Yes, the computers are up, and you can take an FAA knowledge test, and you can take a practical test with a designated examiner, but after you pass, the DE will have to manually process the pilot certificate application. You'll get a temporary certificate and you can fly on that, but it might expire before you get your permanent certificate. You can contact AOPA's Pilot Information Center for more information.
Well, it's the best of both worlds. A Florida couple found a way to travel long distances in comfort and have the ideal fun airplane for flying low and slow. AOPA Senior Content Editor Ian Twombly shows us how they do it.
Who says a slow airplane, like this Kitfox, can't take you where you want to go? Florida couple Bob and Dusty Jones found the ideal way to go wherever they want and take their airplane with them.
We travel in this maybe sometimes up to 3 months a year or more.
Wow.
But 3 months at a shot is about as long as we've done it. And we tow our Kitfox airplane behind us in a little
Enclosed trailer.
Great. And consequently, we are very fortunate. We're able to travel all over the country and stop at little airports, roll the plane out, and have a hoot and a half, and then roll it back in when we're done and stay in our lovely spacious accommodations here.
The arrangement gives the couple the ultimate freedom, sleeping wherever they can find a spot.
I am an antique diamond wearing, Porsche driving corporate
She's
CEO.
not putting the kind of...
Sleeping in a Walmart. Frequently.
Because of that pilot husband of hers.
Because of that pilot husband of mine.
Bob has his system down to a science for securely storing, loading, and unloading the airplane, whether the couple is on the road or at their home in Marathon Key.
And one of the really neat things about this particular location is I can take baby plane out of its little trailer in through the back gate, and I can be there in 10 minutes. Now I've called flight service on the way, fold wings, and I'm ready to go. So that really works out well for us.
The Keys are an ideal place to fly.
Dry Tortugas, Fort Jefferson, it's flown over all of those. Wonderful, you see fabulous boats and beautiful houses, and so it's low and slow, fun touring little baby airplane. And if it's calm enough and pretty enough, he'll be up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and flying around. If it's calm enough and pretty enough, I like the sunset view, and we've both enjoyed that extremely much.
The Kitfox, along with the trailer setup, gives this pilot couple the ultimate access to the skies, whether the airport is down the street or across the country. Ian Twombly, AOPA Live.
Look for this story and more in the March destination sections of AOPA Pilot Magazine. I've never known of anybody to do that, and it looks like a lot of fun.
It does. I think some people just get life right.
Yeah, they do. What a cool way to get around the country and have some great houses in between.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hey, did you know that 4 out of 3 people make a math mistake at some point? Well, this month it was our turn, and the internet had a blast with it. In the February edition of AOPA Pilot Magazine, we have this pie chart, and as you can tell, we really like pie. The numbers don't quite add up to 100%, and well, the pie chart is all sorts of disproportionate. Whoops. We'd like to apologize to the 13% of you who were offended by this. The other 92% who didn't roast us on the comment section, thank you for that, and thanks for supporting us 100%. Coming up after the break, Boeing's eVTOL takes to the air.
And heading way down south, flying to Baja. We'll be right back.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back. A massive opportunity to grow the next generation of pilots. $1 million in scholarships to be given away to AOPA members this year. The You Can Fly High School Flight Training Scholarship Program will award 100 $10,000 scholarships. 80 scholarships will go to high school students. Another 20 will go to teachers dedicated to advancing aviation education in the classrooms. This is all possible by a very generous donation from the James C. Ray Foundation. Find out more on our websites.
Boeing's working on a much smaller aircraft than usual, an air taxi. What they're calling the passenger air vehicle flew for the first time earlier this week. The VTOL air taxi had a successful takeoff, hover, and landing. And Boeing is working with Aurora Flight Sciences on the project. It's one of many similar designs in development to try and meet Uber's vision to have a fleet of air taxis flying in U.S. cities by the early 2020s.
We've all seen the incredible shots Hollywood can get out of drones. Did you ever wonder how to get that cinematic feel out of your small UAS? AOPA's drone team has some helpful hints. Check out the article right now in the news and information section of our website. It's full of tips like using the proper filter. In the case of what you're seeing here, a neutral density filter, and that can help you get that perfect look.
It's cold across much of the U.S. this week. Here in Frederick, Maryland, we've seen single-digit temperatures with 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So, thinking warm thoughts, let's take a trip down the Baja Peninsula. AOPA senior photographer Mike Pfizer takes us to Loreto.
I've been coming to Baja since I was a kid. My father put in some airstrips in the Baja in the 70s, and he put in the cabañas down in San Francisquito. So I've got incredible memories of flying down here my whole life. Today we're in Loreto, Mexico. It's about 3/4 of the way down the peninsula. Very beautiful flight from San Diego. We left from Montgomery Field, took about 3 hours and 10 minutes in the 210. It's definitely not a stretch for the higher end pistons, the 210s, the Bonanzas. 182s and 172s usually will fly somewhere like San Felipe and clear customs, and then it makes it a pretty easy jaunt for them to get down here. Is you really got to sit back and slow down before you take off and come to Mexico. If you get out of your airplane and walk into the customs office with the mentality that, hey, it might take me 45 minutes to get through this, and just relax and slow down, it'll make your experience so much better. I can understand that people might have the perception that, hey, if I don't speak Spanish, I shouldn't come. Bring somebody maybe that speaks Spanish if you're concerned about that. So the Baja Bush Pilots put on several programs if you're timid, but you shouldn't be afraid to come. It's an experience of a lifetime. I think all pilots that have access to the West Coast should come to Mexico.
Look at them.
It's interesting when you're in a town like Loreto. One of the folks here got hurt in an accident, and they did a fundraiser, so we got to see 5 or 6 rock bands. It was a fabulous festival. And the Mexican people are so loving. think the best time of year to come is late spring and early fall. It gets a little hot down here in mid-July, August, September. Fishing on the East Cape is the best that time of year. If you're coming to kind of enjoy the weather, May and June are fantastic, October, November, but we're sitting here November 5th, sitting in 82-degree weather. The water's 80 degrees this time of year. The flying is epic. I have to be coming down here at least once a year. You know, you might do it with a friend that's got a similar type airplane and you can buddy down. When you are flying down the Baja and you look out your window to the left and you see whales and tuna jumping in the clear blue water, and to the right you see the Sierra Madre going to 6,000 to 7,000 feet. It's insane. It's absolutely incredible. The thing with Mexico is if you have the attitude that life is good and you slow down and you enjoy it, give a little love, it comes right back to you. It's a lot of fun.
This is another location that will be featured in the March Destinations section in AOPA Pilot. I could use some Baja right now. I think if we hop in the Bonanza, you can probably get us down there in a couple of days.
We can do it. I've done it, not in the Bonanza, but I've flown down to Baja several times to a little place called Puerto Pescadero, south of Loreto, in Amuni, and it was great fun. It's a beautiful flying down there. It's so stark, the terrain down there, like very little vegetation on most of the peninsula, and it's great weather, and the fishing's really good in the Sea of Cortez. And yeah, it's a good place to use an airplane.
Great. Well, look forward to reading about it.
That's all for this edition. Join us again next time.
If you have any thoughts about our show, let us hear them. The address is AOPA Live at AOPA.org.